Well, my daughter's in the 8th grade and she wanted to go on this 8th grade trip. She was asking me, could she go? And my answer to her was, it depends on if you're mature enough. And likewise, we're going to look at something about marriage that Jesus asked us the same question. We're out here wanting to get married, to be married, but Jesus asked the question, are you mature enough? Let's look at Matthew 19, 8-11. Jesus said, Moses provided for divorce as a concession to your hardness, but it's not part of God's original plan. I'm holding you to the original plan and holding you liable for adultery if you divorce your faithful wife and then marry someone else. I make an exception to cases where the spouse has committed adultery. Jesus' disciples objected. If those are the terms of marriage, we're stuck. Why get married? All right, let's pause for a second here. And by the way, I'm reading from the Message translation. Jesus is answering some questions about marriage and divorce that these Jewish men brought to him. Because in this particular time, a lot of Jewish men were taking the easy way out and divorcing their wives for any reason whatsoever. And Jesus just steps in and saying from the beginning, it wasn't like this. God desired for men and women to get married for life and never, ever get divorced unless somebody is sexually unfaithful. And the disciple was like, if this is the case with marriage, why do we get married? We're stuck. And so the disciples saw marriage as something, wait a minute, if we can't just get out of this thing anytime we want to, then we're stuck. And let's look what Jesus says about this, verse 11-12. But Jesus said, not everyone is mature enough to live a married life. So remember, I started in the opener, my little girl, she wants to go on this 8th grade trip. I'm asking the question, are you mature enough? And Jesus asking the same thing with us about marriage. Are you mature enough to live a married life? Anybody can just get married. Anybody can just have sex. But the question is, are you mature enough to live a married life? Let's keep going what Jesus says about this. It requires a certain aptitude and grace. Marriage isn't for everyone. Some from birth seemingly never give marriage a thought. Others never get asked or accepted. And some decide not to get married for kingdom reasons. But if you're capable of growing into the largeness of marriage, do it. Think about what Jesus is saying. Jesus is making an observation. Everyone is not mature enough to live a married life. And then he goes on to say it requires a certain aptitude, a certain grace. And then he makes this biggest, boldest claim here. Marriage isn't for everyone. And we got to grasp that concept. Just because you are of a certain age and the whole world is saying date, relationships, marriage, Jesus said marriage is not for everybody. And so Jesus wants us to get married knowing the full weight of his requirement. And he's laying it out for us. Marriage is not designed to be easy. It requires a high level of maturity. And he's saying everyone doesn't have this. Thus, marriage is not for everyone. But get this, but you can choose the responsibility of marriage. Let's go back to what Jesus says in verse 12. But if you're capable of growing into the largeness of marriage, do it. So it's interesting. He's saying it's hard. You got to be mature enough. It's not for everyone. But if you feel that you're capable of growing into the largeness of marriage, do it. This is not something you're going to fake it until you make it. Are you really mature enough? Can you handle this? It's almost like James and John, when they came to Jesus, said, I want to send your right hand or your left hand. And Jesus saying, are you able to take of the cup I'm about to take of? You don't know what you're asking. And the same thing with marriage. Like people say, I want to get married. And my question to you is just like Jesus, are you mature enough for this? Because everybody is not designed to get married. Now, I like how Jesus wraps this up. But he did says, if you're capable of growing, which means that you got a heart to grow, then he's saying, let's grow into the largeness of marriage and do it. That concludes today's daily word, and I pray that it was a blessing to you. Before we wrap up, if the Holy Spirit is speaking to your spirit to partner with Church for Entrepreneurs, go to churchforentrepreneurs.com/partner. And if you want to connect with our ministry more, go to churchforentrepreneurs.com and join our online community. You guys be blessed, and I'll talk to you soon.